we're actually starting to train our kids subconsciously even to think like that. So if they dress a certain way, if they don't wear certain brand names, if they wear a certain kind of simple shoe as opposed to an elaborate shoe, if they don't get that book bag that everybody else got, right? If they don't have that video game system, they only have the outdated older one. If you're, I said this last time, if your parents drive an older car, then the teenage kids will ask you to, or even the elementary school, they'll ask you to drop you off around the corner. Like don't drop me off in front of the school, because that's a humiliation. It's a kind of humiliation, right? What do they associate honor and humiliation with? With what you own. Similarly, I just live in an apartment, I don't own a home. I'm not going to invite anybody because it's so embarrassing. Right? Or the wife will say, why would you want to invite someone to our little studio apartment? It's so embarrassing. Right? What are we associating honor and humiliation with? What we own. And these are things we say to each other all the time. This is not some, abstract, these kuffar in Quraysh were so evil. This is what we do all the time. Muslims do this all the time. We talk like this all the time. Right? So here Allah is teaching us, this is the character of insan. Now insan, Allah didn't say kafir, He said insan first of all, which means all human beings tend to have this attitude. The other thing is we should never forget the root origin of the word insan. Like for example, Al-Farra comments, nasiya. It comes from nasiya, he forgot. He forgot where he came from. He forgot what the truth is. He forgot what his master is. He forgot, even if he remembers his master, he forgot what the relationship with his master is supposed to be. You and I aren't entitled to anything if He's our master. All of His things are gifts. When He gives them, it's His gift. When He doesn't give them, it wasn't ours to begin with. No room to complain. If you were entitled to something, you can complain. But if you accept He's your master, there's no room to complain because you're not entitled to anything. He's the master. He's entitled to everything. You're entitled to nothing. So everything He gives is a gift. It's a humility that dawns on the person. But when they have a corrupt relationship with their Lord, then this sinks in. And the first step with shaitan, the first step is to complain about Allah, He's humiliated me. You know what the next step after that is? Rebelling against Allah. Why should I listen to Him after He humiliated me? Right? I'll make money my way. I'll go into the haram. Why? Because He didn't let me earn through the halal. He was, I wasn't making enough. I couldn't pay this. I couldn't get that. Now I'm making enough, So you actually openly now rebel against Allah. Remember, Tughyan was mentioned before, this exceeding rebellion. But now Allah told us where that journey begins. It begins with a corrupt attitude about Allah and the things you own and the things you don't own. You think those are humiliation and honor. Allah Himself says, وَمَنْ يُهِنِ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِن مُكْرِمٍ. Whoever Allah dishonors, whoever Allah humiliates, you're not going to find anyone to honor them. You think you'll find honor in other things. But if Allah has taken honor away, you won't find it in wealth or health, in nothing. There's some of the wealthiest people in the world are also the most humiliated. Bernie Madoff. Extremely wealthy, but extremely humiliated, right? This is the case. And there are people who have next to nothing, but Allah honors them in a way you can't speak about them and they don't have massive wealth to show for themselves or enormous assets. But Allah honors them because they do Allah's work and they understand, the slaves of Allah. So may Allah change our attitudes by means of these ayat. So وَتَأْكُلُونَ التُّرَاثَ أَكْلًا لَمَّا. And then Allah tells us the root of all of this. Why should you be honored? وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالِ. You love wealth. You love what? These were all actions on the outside, right? You don't honor the orphan. You don't encourage each other to feed the needy, the ones who can't help themselves. Then you love to eat. You eat the inherited wealth or the wealth you didn't work towards, and you hoard it all together and like to consume all of it. Then at the end of all of these outwardly actions, Allah mentioned something inside. And that's the last is the worst crime. So what's the worst crime? وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالِ. You love wealth. That's your real crime. In Surah At-Tawbah, Allah actually issues this threat to the believers. He says, قُلْ إِنْ كَانَ آبَاؤُكُمْ وَأَبْنَاؤُكُمْ وَأَزْوَاجُكُمْ وَعَشِيرَتُكُمْ وَأَمْوَالٌ اقْتَرَفْتُمُوهَا وَتِجَارَةٌ تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَادَهَا وَمَسَاكِنُ تَرْضَوْنَهَا. He makes a list of 8 things. Tell them if your parents and your kids and your spouses and your extended families, right? And then the monies you love to compile, the savings you like to make, and the businesses that you always fear are going to go down. Thousands of years ago, people feared business will go down. Today, is it the same? Is it always business news everybody's watching? The economy is not doing so well. The business you feared will go down. تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَادَهَا وَمَسَاكِنُ تَرْضَوْنَهَا. And the homes you are so happy with. If all of those things, this is basically our mal in this dunya and the ni'mah in our dunya. He says, أَحَبَّ إِلَيْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَجِهَادٍ فِي سَبِيلِهِ. If all of those things are more beloved to you, you love those things more than Allah, His Messenger, and struggling in their path, فَتَرَبَّصُوا. You just wait then. حَتَّى يَأْتِيَ اللَّهُ بِأَمْرِهِ. Until Allah comes with His command, with His decision. You just wait. Allah issues a threat. And then the biggest curse of Allah in that ayah is, وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الْفَاسِقِينَ. It is Allah who will not guide. He will not guide the corrupt nation. He calls these people the corrupt, who love this more than Allah. Here He says about the kuffar, you love money. تُحِبُّونَ الْمَالِ حُبًّا جَمًّا. Jam in Arabic يدل على الكثرة. More specifically, jam in Arabic is used when you have like a ruler or a scale, and you fill it up all the way as far as the scale goes. Right? Beyond the scale, you're just filled to the brim, that's called, right? So you love wealth as it's filled to the brim. It has to be like fully loaded. It has to be that kind of wealth. That's what you're in love with. وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا. Now Allah says, now the human being will be informed. What did he make a priority out of? And what did he put on the back burner? That's the translation I'll prefer here. بِمَا قَدَّمَ. What did he give priority to? What took taqdeem for him? What was priority number one? What took precedence? وَمَا أَخَّرَ. And what could wait? What were the things that you put on the back burner? The crime of the human being isn't necessarily that he doesn't do a good deed. The human being says, it can wait. I can do it later. The crime of the human being isn't necessarily that he doesn't leave sin. He says, I'll leave it later. Or, let me do what I want right now. I'll do that later. I have time. Taqdeem and ta'khir, not the grammar one. The one for life. Human beings will be thoroughly informed. What were your priorities? What did you put ahead? What came first for you? What came later for you? بِمَا قَدَّمَ وَأَخَّرَ. The other meaning of قَدَّمَ وَأَخَّرَ in Tafsir Juz Amma I mentioned also, قَدَّمَ also means what you've sent forward. You've done deeds, you've done works, and every one of them are waiting for you. Our deeds are waiting for us. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ رَهِينَ. You've sent collateral over. You've sent deeds over for processing. And you're going to meet those deeds on Judgment Day. I don't meet my deeds now, I just do them now. I will meet them then. وَوَجَدُوا مَا عَمِلُوا حَاضِرًا. They're going to be standing face to face in front of their salats. If your salat was lousy, you'll be standing in front of a lousy salat, staring right at you. That's what it's going to be. If you were lying, cheating, backbiting, angry, arrogant, condescending, whatever you were, he's looking right at you in the face. And then you're going to say, Mali hadal kitab. That's the reality of it. Bima qaddama wa akhar. What did he make a priority out of? What did he put on the back burner? This is one of those life-transforming ayat. The human being will be thoroughly informed. This was your priority. This is what you spent time on. This is what you did with your free time. This is what you thought can wait. You had all these dreams. I want to memorize the Quran. What did you do for it? How many seasons of how many TV shows did you watch instead? That was a priority for you. Well, you wanted to memorize. Oh, but it can wait though. Inshallah, one day, when my heart is purified, then I shall start. بِمَا قَدَّمَ وَأَخَرَ بَلِ الْإِنسَانِ. No. Yes, on that day the human being will be given thorough news, but it's not like the human being's blind now. Rather, the case is that the human being, عَلَى نَفْسِهِ, against his own self, basira, is fully insightful. There is one person that knows so much about you, and nobody else knows about you. And besides Allah, and that's you. You have an insight into who you are, what your flaws are, what your limitations are, what your capabilities are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what opportunities you avail, what opportunities you get lazy about. You know that about yourself more than anybody else. And you and I decide to lie to ourselves. We just decide we're not going to have an honest conversation with ourselves, and about ourselves with Allah. We don't want to have that honest conversation. For some people, all they want at the end of their life, what is success to them? Maybe I'll own a house. That's success for them. Maybe if I have this much money, that means I have success. Maybe if I got married to this one or that one, maybe that means I have success. But I go back to what I started with. There are some people who are happy with doing just the minimum. Just the minimum. But I am here to tell you, the young people in the audience today, Allah has blessed you, and I am telling you, He expects great things from you. He does not expect the minimum from you.
There are so many Muslims, the only thing left of Islam is their name. That's the only thing left. They don't care about salat, they don't care about halal and haram. They're far from this deen. What can I do to further this deen? What can I do I shouldn't just be happy that so many people come and attend Jumu'ah. Does that mean everybody's heart is clean? Does that mean that we don't need any more reminder? Is that what that means? Or are there evils in our society? Are there youth that are turning towards drugs? Are there young people that are just living their life for no purpose? All they do is play video games and watch movies and go to sleep. And if you ask them for a purpose, they say, I want to graduate and get a job. Is that a goal? Get a job? Allah gave us such higher goals. Your job itself is a means to a higher end. But you know what? We are living in strange times. The people who need the da'wah the most today are the Muslims themselves. But even if you get a good job, but you don't do your job. You got the job, but you show up late every day. You got the job, but you don't finish any projects. You're sitting there at the desk wasting your time. You're going to lose that job. Somebody else will come and do it for you. You will not keep that job even if you qualified. Qualifications are not enough. You have to do the work. Allah Azza wa Jal is giving all of us, He's already qualified us. We are people of La ilaha illallah. We are already qualified. But that doesn't mean we're doing the work. If we don't do the work, if we don't concern ourselves, if we don't care, then you know what's going to happen. إِن تَتَوَلَّوْا يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَكُونُوا أَمْثَالَكُمْ. You turn away and Allah will replace you with a nation other than yourselves, and they will not be like you. They will not be lazy like you. And those are when young Muslim people have real iman, when young Muslims have real strength in their belief, then they have the power to change the world. They have the power to make the world a better place. But when young Muslim people don't have real iman, they don't have real conviction, then they are a waste of space. They are a waste of society, a waste of a generation. The only thing in their life, the most important thing in their life is when is the next movie coming out. The most important thing is when is the next iPhone coming out. The next most important thing is, man, I wish I had that car. That's it. Your life doesn't go any further than that. My teacher used to say that Islam is similar to climbing a mountain. You know, when you're climbing a mountain, you throw a hook and you climb. If you throw a hook not very high, then you will only reach that much. You can't reach any further. If your goal is money, if your goal is a six-pack, if your goal is a car, if your goal is a promotion, if your goal is entertainment, if your goal is girls, whatever your goal is, then you're only going to get that. You won't get anything else. But if your goal is something higher, to serve something more than yourself, you don't live a selfish life. You want to live for the sake of Allah and for the benefit of others. That's how you want to live. Then you will benefit yourself definitely, but you will be honored in the eyes of Allah because you set your goal much higher. Our deen in this beautiful ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal describes it, قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلِي. This is my path. A sabil is a path. And you know what? Allah did not say in this ayah, قُلْ هَذَا دِينِي. This is my deen. Tell them this is my religion. This is my Islam. This is my truth. This is my book. He didn't describe it with any other language except this is my path. And all of you know a path is like a journey. So Islam itself is being described as a journey in this ayah. What does that mean? That means in any journey you have to make progress, right? So even if you take one step, you are more closer to your destination than the day before or the step before. Every single moment you are making progress in a journey. And in this ayah, Allah's Messenger says, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, this religion of mine and this religion of yours and ours, Islam, is a journey, which means I am supposed to do something more for this deen than I did yesterday. And I'm supposed to do more tomorrow and more tomorrow and more tomorrow. I'm supposed to go further.